announcements that are not on the agenda. The Elderly Brothers are going to be playing at the Rec Center on Sunday, September 21st, 2014 at 3 o'clock. That is another pool fund fundraiser. Anyone who didn't make it the last time, it was a lot of fun. It was a great turnout, and we did make $1,000 on that.
What's the date on that again?
It's 3 o'clock on September 21st. So I just want everybody to put it in your calendar. And the other thing, there are some flyers over there for the summer swim at Williams Lake. They had a good turnout the first weekend, and anybody that's interested in helping out, we do have a sign-up sheet for the fundraising table, so people can help sell the bricks we're looking for, and some of the other things that we're doing for fundraising. And as you know, that's from noon to 7 on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes from last month's meeting.
I'll second.
Roll vote, Councilman Acid?
Yes.
Councilman Metzger?
Yes.
Councilman Slapsky?
Yes.
Councilman Ryan?
Yes.
Supervisor Walsh?
Yes. I forgot, does anybody have any public comments or petitions? Chris?
I had one thing I wanted to comment on, and you've heard this before, but it has to do with timely availability of material that's going to be discussed at the meetings on the town website. And I looked at the website yesterday morning, there was nothing. Apparently sometime yesterday afternoon, the material for this meeting was put on along with the agenda. When I come here, the agenda has changed significantly from what I saw at 3 minutes after 5 this afternoon. And there are several items on this agenda for which there was no material on the town website. And that leaves the people out here kind of in the dark about what you're talking about. The most critical item that's there is the material related to a public hearing, which was announced some time ago, and yet that material did not appear until sometime after noon yesterday. And it wasn't there.
I think that was there in May, maybe. It was in a different spot.
And it may have been today, I don't know. I mean, I didn't...
No, I said May, not today.
No, it wasn't there
Maybe June.
yesterday, any place that I could find on the town website.
I don't think that's right, because I remember talking about it. I don't remember what day it was, but it wasn't today, it was a different day.
Well, you might
You know
want
what happened
to...
was it was posted with the documents were posted with the agenda for the meeting when it was announced.
Yeah.
And it's routine, that when the agenda came down, the
I think it
documents.
may accidentally have pulled off. I don't know. I just
I mean, I
know
looked under, there's
Did you look
a
under
projects category
Yeah.
for HRVR, I didn't find it there. I looked under news, I looked all over, and I couldn't find it anywhere. Now, I had gotten a copy, a hard copy, but I came down to town hall to do that, and I'm sure most of the people in town didn't do that, probably didn't even know about it until, maybe a week or 10 days ago. So it just,
it was not
just
done on purpose.
sensitize
So I
you.
can tell you, we make an effort to, there's a lot of time and energy goes into trying to make sure that everything gets posted. As far as this agenda goes, we had a very large agenda, and it was one of those things where late in the day today, we decided to shift things around to try to push some things off into next month, because they were just going to be taking up too much of our time, and we didn't picture us being able to get out of here before midnight. And some of the other things that we were still working on and hoping to get resolved by the end of this day, which we were still back and forth with the other parties involved, and until we had final documents, we didn't have them. We had a couple of documents that would come in until after 4 o'clock this afternoon, and they're untimely, and we have to do them now, or we wouldn't have a contract. So that's why we had to do it.
I understand that. I just think you need to be aware that there are many, many other places where they, like the planning board here, they set a deadline for getting things on the agenda, and they adhere to it, and nothing bad has happened as a result of that. So maybe scheduling that close to the meeting is not a good idea in terms of communication with the
Mr.
public.
Beall, you know what you gotta understand? You gotta understand that there's a number of things going on in this town, a number of things.
Well, I saw the agenda, there's a
Okay,
lot here.
setting aside your one focus, okay, there's a lot of things going on in the town, and this supervisor with her assistant, has gotten us a lot of grants for our residents.
I agree.
Okay, so
I
just so
agree.
that you have an understanding, I too have things to do tonight, and they've been working so hard and diligently. They called all the board members and asked us if we could come up here an hour earlier for the meeting to do the work, or else we'd be here to midnight. So, you know, I as a board elected official, I apologize that things aren't put in your lap and just given to you so that you can get your weapons and come on in here and start firing.
I'm not concerned about my lap.
Well,
It's the 6,000 other laps that aren't
I'm
here
concerned
tonight.
about my residents in my town that voted for me to represent them. That's what I'm concerned about. If you want a better understanding, maybe you need to come up here during the stay and see the operations and see how things are and how much goes on and how things change minute to minute. It's okay, you know, to sit home and draw a conclusion in your own mind, but unless you're actually there in the driver's seat and driving the boat, you don't know what's going on. So please, give this board and this supervisor a little bit of a break, and if you want to have your request fulfilled, come up here a couple of days and see what goes on in a daily operation. Would you do that for me?
I have done that, and I think the supervisor understands what I'm asking
I do
for.
understand what you're asking, but I've said this over and over. I do the best I can to get the documents out as soon as they're ready. And I do not believe that it's expedient or in the town's best interest to put stuff off that needs to be addressed, you know, right now. I mean, for one example is we had two things that we put before the other party more than a year ago, and I didn't get the final stuff until today. But if I didn't do it tonight, and it didn't get posted because I didn't have it till late this afternoon, we would be without a contract. And even though I've been trying to get a contract in place for more than a year, it came down to the last minute. And sometimes that's what happens. And, you know, my goal, and we work very hard to try to make sure that everything's posted. Sometimes there's other things that come in the way, you know, we don't, the document isn't finalized, so I'd be putting documents up that might need changing. If you're still going back and forth with another party's attorney, it doesn't benefit the public to put up a document that we don't believe is the way we want to see it.
I agree.
So there were several documents today that did not get finalized until the end of the day. You know, if I get a comment from one of the other board members that they want to see a change in the document, often I go back to that person I'm drafting that contract with, and I ask them to make those changes before we go to the board. So I'm working on, it's a constant working, it's not like it's sitting on a shelf waiting for the meeting. What I'm doing is continuously, it's a you know, a constant flow. And, you know, I could put it off and I could put it off, and a lot of towns do that, and I'm not pointing any fingers, but some other places, they don't get the work done as timely as we are. Because I'm not going to wait because I didn't get them posted. We do the best we can, and that's really what the law says, to do the best you can, and that's what I do. And there's no motive to try to hide anything. The documents are just in transition. They're still, you know, you may see something on that document that we posted last week that we are planning on changing because we're working on changing it. And if I gave it to you before that change happened, you would be maybe upset or concerned because you didn't see us doing what we need to do to make that document the way it should be presented to the public. So I'm not going to post a document that hasn't been completed, that I'm still working on. So that's why you might not see something. As far as the other document, it was intentional to have it out there. If it wasn't, I apologize, but it was not done on purpose. And I do remember discussing with Jill, there are several different places the documents are posted, and it might have been on a different place that you didn't look on, because I remember discussing it and I thought it was posted, so. I didn't check it myself, but, you know, I mean, there's a lot of hours that go into trying to upload, you know, you have to scan, upload, and put them in, and it takes some time, but, you know, we do it. And you're right, that sometimes they're not put on. This is definitely a different agenda than we started the day with, but we didn't believe that we could get that done, if we did that, so.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Yes.
Hi, Jeff Booz told us that if we were to become the official, the brass band,
Okay.
if we were to become the official town band, then we could play anywhere we want in town. This is the message I got.
I would like you to come and see me personally, because that's a discussion that has to do with coming up with a plan.
Okay, I'm
That's
just
not
following
discussed.
up on the
No.
message I got.
I know, but the discussion is to come see the supervisor and to talk
I
about.
did not get that part of the
Okay.
message.
Because I'm trying to work through some of the things that are, new regulations that have come up, and I'm trying to find ways to accommodate wherever possible, so I'd like to discuss that with you.
Awesome. I
one-on-one.
have one other comment.
Sure.
Chief Perry informed me that we needed permits and we needed insurance for the crosswalk signs, and they've since been removed. One is completely gone, the other is on the sidewalk. And there was a definite improvement in traffic slowing down and people being able to cross the street when those signs were there. So I wonder if there's any, has there been any follow-up? Has the permit
I'll
been?
have to check with Perry on that.
Because that was like a month ago, he told me, and
I haven't had that discussion with him. I'll
Okay.
look into it.
if you can follow up, that
I
would
do
be
know
great.
that's a DOT issue, so if
It's-
DOT came by and said
it's-
they have to come down, then we have to go through the process to get them back.
Right, right, and I'm just hoping that the process is in process, because it's getting more crowded. Every weekend, it's getting more and more crowded, so Thank
They're
you.
really valuable, I noticed it a lot.
such an improvement, really. So
Okay, we'll
I'd
check
love to see
into
them
that.
back again, thank you.
Anybody else?
Just a quick comment, I know everybody probably knows, getting the grant for the water and sewer department, but I'll tell you, with 3 million there, I don't know how many millions you've gotten, but it seems like it's getting close to 10. And one really good thing is from the New York Rising Committee work, which we did, is so, not that we may not put money towards that, but it will open up the money for maybe other areas besides that with this new grant. This will really help. Maybe Terry won't have to worry about keeping the system together with chewing gum and duct tape.
I mean, that's, I guess we haven't had a meeting since that announcement came
No.
out, but anyone who doesn't isn't aware of it, the town of Rosendale, we will have a speaker from Barton Loguidice to go over that, but the town water district qualified for $2 million grant money to improve the water system, and a little over $1 million, 1.0488, right? That was it?
1-1.
1.1,
Rough
in
numbers.
zero interest financing, so, you know, I know there was a couple articles about it, but we'll find out some more details when our representative from Barton just discusses it with us. All right, so I think that's it for everybody on the comments. Okay, financial report, in the general fund, $1,098,179.14. Highway, $829,826.37. Capital Highway, $13,857.51. In capital, $70,519.64. In rec sub, $24,586.07. In capital rec, $791.50. And in light, $16,014.38. No, but I'll do this, do that. You wanna do the public hearing first, or should we do- I need to figure it out. We're gonna do that after public hearing.
Okay.
Just switch it around a little, just so we don't have, people waiting any longer. Okay, and we're gonna switch a little bit around, we're gonna do the committee reports and then the assignments and, appointments and resignations after we do the public hearing, just for the timing. There's no representative here on that. I'm gonna take that back, let's go ahead and do.
Okay. I don't have anything to report from the Chamber of Commerce. Their Chamber of Commerce is going to be doing more like quarterly events rather than monthly, so I've got no news there. Assessor's Office has taken in $1 so far. Our Environmental Commission has been very busy. They have produced documents, pamphlets on stormwater, part of our MS4 deal. I have samples, I can't give them away, but if you want to look at them and give them back, you can do so.
Tom has them in his office.
They'll be available at the rec center, at the municipal center in Tom's office. Also, the Environmental Commission is tabling on Sunday the Street Fest, so they'll have that, as well as information on the Emerald Ash Borer.
And you're gonna be doing an event too, right?
Yes, there will be a presentation that they're sponsoring by Riverkeeper on the water quality of the Rosendale Creek on the 17th from 7 to 8 p.m. at the rec center. So this will talk all about the study that I believe they did last year of the water quality in Rosendale.
Data they've actually been collecting over a number of years, and they've collected data specifically on popular swimming pools in the rock. Oh, sorry, no mics. They've been collecting data for some years now. I can't remember how many. They still have much more collection to do, but they have been collecting samples from popular swimming pools in the Rosendale, among other places, and it's specifically information that is important for people who enjoy swimming in the creek and playing in the creek, you know.
The Environmental Commission is also progressing on their town emissions survey, and we're working with Terry to set up flex tech appointments
And
to-
also with Carl.
and Carl to improve efficiency of town buildings. That's working with a program from NYSERDA. That's it.
Thank you.
ZBA, nothing to report for the meeting of the month of June. No money taking in on there, kind of quiet. Rosendale Highway Department, which the boss just walked in somewhere. We'll be talking on a resolution about an attachment for the skid steer, so I'll let that go, and there was nothing taken in for the Highway Department. Youth, for the youth, Eric, our youth director that we have appointed down here, he had an illness and he ended up in the hospital. So with the starting of camp and everything, it kind of set everything upside down. Ashley gave me the financial report. It was $596.68 total, but she didn't have the breakdown on what was from the clothing locker. Now the clothing locker is really doing good, so I'll have more specifics and have a better breakdown now that Eric's out of the hospital. He just got back to work, I think, 2 days ago. Camp is full, so it's doing well there, and everything's running down here without any problems so far. And I guess that's all that I have to report.
Okay. We'll start off with the money. Building Department, for the month of June, took in $2,006. The Rec Center for the month of June took in $1,743.77. And a drum roll. The Town Clerk took in $15,818. And that's good. And the reason for that, I was kind of surprised when I saw that number, and I looked up and good job finally getting the cell tower people to pay their required fees. To an $11,100. Very good.
Momentous.
Very good. So that's the money. The Rec Commission minutes are on file with the Town Clerk, and I do want to just take a moment and point out that our Rec Commission co-chairs, Sherry Doherty and Ezra Waltermuir, have tendered their resignation. Sherry especially has been on the Rec Commission for many, many years. He put in countless number of hours helping to develop various policies that we've been forced to, come in compliance with everything that's been happening down there. And Sherry's term ended last year, and she agreed to stay on for another year. And things have just gotten so to the point she feels comfortable enough that we're to the point where a lot of the major things with the rec department are addressed, specifically the pool and some of our policy issues, so she feels comfortable tendering her resignation.
Can I
So-
just ask you, Ken, on that, did she give you something, because I didn't get a formal resignation?
She
Or
did
from
not,
Ezra.
she did not, this came from
That's
the
what we're
meeting
doing.
and it'll be
Do we want to
forthcoming.
make a motion without that?
No, I think maybe we should just
Okay.
wait to get it, but in just in the interest of getting it out there, it's just really important that, our community knows how much time and energy that Sherry Doherty especially, but Sherry and Ezra had put into it, so I'd just like to publicly thank them for their years of service
Absolutely.
on the rec commission. And to wrap it up, the High Falls Water District, next meeting is on the 29th, Terry?
Correct.
At 6 p.m., so anybody that's interested in that. And that'll do it.
Jeannie, can you come up to me?
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I forgot the
Sorry.
water and sewer. We didn't have a meeting, but I want to report the finances. For the water end of it, we took in $9,072.68. For the sewer, it was $4,467.58, for a grand total of $13,540.26.
Forgot the 2 million.
We didn't get that yet.
Terry still got the check in his pocket.
Okay, so the financials first, the planning board took in $128.80. Dog control took in 0. And the winner, once again, hands down, transfer station, took in, I'm actually gonna report for 2 months. For May, a total of $4,142.83. $331 of that goes to the pool from recyclables. And for June, the total is $4,100 and 1584. Is that correct? And I'd just like to report, it is with great happiness that Renee has returned. We have missed her. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And the planning board, I wasn't at the meeting, but I understand that the farmer's market has gotten its approval, site plan approval for its new location behind the Rosendale Theater, and that's great news.
So that's where it's going to stay.
Okay, so, I'm gonna do these in groups, okay? So that we can make this go. And then if anybody has a problem with anything, then we'll pull it out. So I'm gonna make a motion to hire Ryan Howells for code enforcement per diem at $10 per hour. A motion to hire Jonathan Yeri for cemetery maintenance at $9 per hour. Motion to hire Brittany Ferry as rec aide at $8.25 per hour. Motion to hire Michaela Jerkowski as rec aide at $8.15 per hour. Motion to hire Matthew Gotzine as rec aide at $8.15 per hour. Motion to hire Samantha Fuller as rec aide at $8.15 an hour. Motion to hire Carson Parks as rec aide at $8 per hour. Motion to hire Kyle Schwegler as rec aide at $8 per hour. Motion to hire Brandon Davis as rec aide for $8 per hour. Motion to hire Brandon Stevens for summer weed crew at $9 per hour. Motion to hire Andrew Sheehan for summer weed crew at $9 per hour. Motion to hire Megan Miller for summer weed crew at $9 per hour. Motion to hire Benjamin Graham for summer weed crew at $9 per hour. It's one motion.
I'll second. I'll second.
Roll vote, Councilman Hassett.
I vote yes, and just with the caveat that you're getting old when you look at all of these names that we just read, and I can remember when just about every one of them were born. Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger.
Yes.
Councilman Stropski.
Yes.
Sorry. Councilman Ryan.
Yes.
Supervisor Walsh.
Yes. And then I'd like to make a motion to accept the resignation of Tim Morrison from the planning board. We'd like to thank Tim. I guess he didn't make it in tonight, but for all his hard work. He's not only been on the planning board, but he's volunteered his time on many occasions for lots of different committees throughout the years he's lived in our town. And he's moving south, so we wish him well. And sorry to see him go.
I'll second that. I've worked with Ken for, it's not gonna happen, but, yeah. Oh, yeah, all that. was on the zoning code review committee for a number of years, and he'll definitely be missed. He had an incredible commitment to detail, and really, in everything that he did, he looked over everything with a fine-tooth comb, and his contributions were enormously valuable.
Roll vote, Councilman Hassett,
Yes, with regret.
Councilman Metzger,
Yes, with regret.
Councilman Rosowski,
Yes, with regret.
Councilman Bergmann,
Good luck to 'em.
Supervisor Walsh,
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to appoint John Ivankivic to a permanent position on the planning board to fill Tim Morrison's position. Oops, I don't have the end of term for that. You just check.
I'll second.
roll vote, Councilman Hassett,
Yes.
Councilman Rosowski,
Yes.
Councilman Supervisor Walsh.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the resignation of Patrick Ferry from the police department.
I'll second that.
Roll vote, Councilman Hassett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger,
Yes.
Councilman Rosowski,
Yes.
Councilman Ryan,
Abstain.
Supervisor Walsh.
Yes. Okay, Mandy, could you go ahead with the public hearing?
Notice is hereby given that the town board of the town of Rosendale will be holding a public hearing on July 9, 2014 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of Williams Lake Sewage Works Corporation located at the Rondell Municipal Center, 1915 Lucas Avenue, Cottage Hill, New York, 12419, by the order of the Rosendale Town Board dated June 19, 2014, Mandy Constable, Town Clerk.
Okay, do you have the list there? Anybody that's interested who hasn't signed up, please sign up if you'd like to make any comments.
Sure.
Yeah, you can read the first person.
Mourka Meyendorff.
Just a reminder that we ask you to keep the 3 minutes. You can stand up there and vote your votes.
Hi, my name is Mourka Meyendorff. I'm a resident of Rosendale. Wait a minute. Okay, Save the Lakes is changing their name to Save the Stream, just for today. The main concern being the effluent that will be released from the HRVR sewage plant into the Rondout Creek. Members of STL have voiced their concern about the sewage plant in the original DEIS, and now that more details have evolved from the planning stages of the new plant, we are very concerned about that effluent that will be released. The Rondout Creek is the jewel that runs to our village of Rosendale. It is one of our scenic wonders and attracts tourists. Children and adults swim in the stream, and many others fish and eat the fish that they catch. If there are any negative impacts on the stream from sewage effluent, the ramifications could be disastrous, and we all know how quickly mistakes can be made with dire consequences, i.e. the rebuilding of the berm rocks after the hurricanes. That was pretty environmentally poor. Things happen very quickly. We have 2 main concerns. 1, spa products are not adequately protected by the FDA regulations. Oils, cosmetic chemicals, colors, and other wastewater associated with large spa operations are pollutants of unknown long-term impact. FDA does not regulate personal care products. 844 ingredients in these products are considered carcinogens. There are several websites pointing to this information. You can look this up. I have some if you're interested. DEC used the ISIL standard intermittent stream effluent limits for sewage treatment plants and has deemed the effluent from the HRVR sewage plants safe. Safe for whom? Fish? Birds? People? Unfortunately, only time will tell how safe this standard is. Is this a chance we want to take? Secondly, Riverkeeper, an organization, has been monitoring the bacterial count, and which we will have a meeting about next week. Is counting the bacterial count in the Rondell is pretty high. Do we want to add to that? This would be a bad thing. Once again, the town government is allowing a corporation, in this case HRBR, whose economic interests are priority to environmental issues, dictate how we should manage our environment in the town of Rosendale, in this case, the Rondell Creek. Again, if it wasn't for the sheer size of the Williams Lake project, the housing component and the high-end luxury spa, these current concerns may be a moot point.
I'll let you finish.
Thank you. The prior Williams Lake Hotel had a waterway system, although archaic, needed to be upgraded, worked for the hotel and the existing buildings. That's kind of a concern. Finally, how much of a risk do we want to take for the Rondell Creek, which is already at risk? Personally, I would have zero tolerance for any contaminants into a stream if I had my children swimming in the Rondell, which I do. Has there been a water expert besides DEC to view the long-term effects? Who will monitor the stream? I know that there's going to be monitoring and things like this, but who really is going to do it on a long-term basis? Will the new spa operator adhere to all the rules and regulations, or will she cut corners and we find our fish belly up one day? Do we add the Rondell Creek to the list of polluted streams in our country in the name of green development? Too many questions, few answers. As a member of the Save the Stream, Save the Lakes, Creek Keepers, and a resident of Rosendale, I am imploring the board to rethink all the possibilities. I thank you very much.
Can I spell it?
Can you spare that?
I can send you a copy.
Okay, I have written handouts for you, so I'm just going to be very brief. I did pretty much a technical review of the document. My understanding is that this is a contingency document. We all hope that it never comes into play, but it is intended to protect the residents of the Williams Lake project and the town itself in the event that something goes wrong and the Williams Lake Sewage Works Corporation is no longer able to fulfill its responsibilities to those residents. So this is a backup plan, basically. And so I looked at it from the standpoint of whether the town and those residents are adequately protected. The biggest concern I have is that the material I received consisted of two documents. One was the agreement itself, and the other was Exhibit A, which was a document prepared by Crawford Associates with a little more detail about the proposed sewage works project. There are references in the original agreement to Exhibit A, but they are pretty casual references. And as I read the documents, it became apparent to me that there is detail in the Crawford report that is not present within the agreement itself. And so I'm concerned about the extent to which those two documents are legally connected. My impression is that either some of that detail needs to be rolled forward into the agreement, or there needs to be a much more explicit statement within the agreement saying that it incorporates the Crawford report as part and parcel of the agreement itself. And I put some examples in here. One of them, one of the easiest ones to find, is the fact that the agreement lists the parcels that are to be included within the sewer franchise area. But when you go to the Crawford report, it makes it clear that one of those parcels is not included in its entirety, but is actually cut off at a point near Fourth Binnewater Lake. And that's a more detailed explanation of what that boundary is. And since the agreement is about the area within that boundary, I think it's very important to make sure that the boundary is well understood by everybody. So I ask you to take a look at these comments. go through them. The good news is it's one page. The bad news is you do have to turn it over on the back. There's a little bit of material back there. And see if the document can't be improved just a little bit. Thank you very much.
Fre Atlast.
I just want to thank everybody, first of all, because everyone has worked really hard to come to some kind of agreements. There are things we agree on, things we don't. I don't take one side or the other. I try to be neutral. But I am concerned with the sewage that will go into the creek. And I've had discussions, and I want to just reiterate that maybe it's not too late for some other alternatives to be looked at. I've directed people from Williams Lake to check out the system at Omega. It's a closed system. Everything goes through that system and back into the river, which is one alternative that I would rather see, rather than sewage coming almost directly across from the town's swimming hole. So, the other alternative is something that I believe was discussed prior to this agreement with linking with the sewage treatment. And to me, that was a win-win for the town, for the creek itself, because we already have a problem with E. coli in the creek. And if we had a link, and especially now that the town is digging everything up and all this construction, is it possible at all for us to be able to put the pipeline up there and have Williams Lake residents contribute to the system of the rest of the town? So that it may be more expensive in the long run, because residents up there will be paying a sewer bill in perpetuity. But the only reason that I really was told that this could not happen was an expense. And it was quoted to be $1 to $2 million to put the pipeline in. And I've read in the material that this is a $200 million project. So I don't understand why the effort wouldn't be made to spend a little bit of extra money to really take the tax burden off the people that are currently paying for the system, expanding, improving our sewer system, and having another revenue stream to help the upgrade. So those are my two suggestions that I've said before, and maybe it's just redundant and it doesn't make any difference because it's a done deal, but I just have to say I'm very protective of the creek. I'm in it every day that I can be, and from bridge to bridge, that the ecology there, the fish that are there, the wildlife, it's something that we need to protect. Okay, thank you very much.
So again, I say thank you. I'm really happy that we have the ability to have town meetings where we have exchange between the residents. It's really important. I hope we do more of that always. The things that concern me living on the creek are very similar to what Fre Atlast said. I understand the procedures to some degree, trying to catch up with some of them. The statistic of 90,000 gallons per day of effluent going into the creek is chilling, and we need to know that and think of it for the future. Whatever happens now, can we live with putting that much effluent into the creek? Do we have to, for the future of the world, in fact, find better ways to do this? And the Omega system sounds so great, that is now off the table from my understanding, but it's right for our continuation as a community. And then the other possibility of building that extra connecting pipe a mile down into our sewage system and joining with our sewage system sounds like a second best choice, because from what I understand, our sewage system doesn't have the capacity to handle when there are storms, flood water goes into it, and we're polluting the creek, which we don't want to do. And then even if we, could get a grant to do this now after we have our water grant, and I applaud your ability to get grants, it's fantastic. So if we could get this one more grant, for the sewage system, and backtrack a little and say, yes, let's join, as Fre was explaining, and this says we can no longer consider, join with the Rosendale sewage, the Williams Lake sewage, and then we would be going in downstream of our town, which is the second best choice. But I think for our future children's life on this earth, we can't continue in these kinds of systems where we're dumping sewage into the creek without investigating and investing in things like the leach field that are at Omega. So, I just envision it also living on the creek and swimming in the creek, what it means to have 90,000 gallons a day upstream of where I live coming into the creek. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment? All right, would you keep it open for? Yes, absolutely. Get 3 minutes, slow down.
Let me talk faster. I just wanted to take the opportunity to address some of the concerns and highlight no sewage is going to the creek. It's a treated effluent. No effluent is going to the creek without being treated. The ISEL standards, which we voluntarily put our hands up for, is the highest standard for treatment. And what it stands for is intermittent stream effluent limit. And the idea is that if the stream is dry at any time of the year, the effluent treated has to be clean enough to support life. So aquatic species have to be able to live in that treated effluent. The treated effluent will travel through that stream and hit the creek and will not create any hazards. The Williams Lake Hotel effectively has and had no sewer treatment system. The septic field was essentially nothing, and it was in a ball field draining into Williams Lake and traveling down to the Roundup Creek. 90,000 gallons per day is a maximum number. It's been described to me as the equivalent of 2 garden hoses, 2 half-inch garden hoses. It's a maximum number. It's not what's going to happen all the time. Even so, it's not much. We did look at connecting to the town. We did look at the Omega technology, which is a great technology. It's very difficult to permit. Ask Skip. He worked very hard to get there, even harder probably than we did. And connecting to the town was a possibility, but for a number of reasons, including the fact that it took us all this time to get through the process, we ultimately decided that a facility on site was the best option. We are still exploring alternative methodologies. We've been working with a group that Manajo connected us with years ago for some of the sewer and stormwater. Their company name is Renewage, and we will continue to look at them. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll leave the public hearing open for another half hour in case anyone wants to make a comment, and then we'll address it. So we'll address it again at 8:15. Next Next on the agenda, we have a representative from Barton Loguidice to talk to us about our grant and the next steps that we have to take in order to process that grant. And we have to talk about the contract that we need to implement with them also, Barton Loguidice.
Good evening, everyone. Don Fletcher with Barton Loguidice.
Coming.
Not a problem, anytime. Unfortunately, Jason's up on Lake Ontario on vacation, and Quinn's in Kansas on vacation, so.
Well, Jason met with myself and Terry last week, just so that everyone knows. And we went over some of the details of the contract and the next steps, but it would be great if you could explain some of that to the town board.
Okay. As you know, we had a report on we prepared a report, preliminary engineering report on the condition of the water system that was completed back in July of 2013. It totaled about $3.1 million in rough numbers of improvements needed. It was in 4 areas. It was to improve the Still Pond water treatment plant. It was to replace the 4 filters there, expand the building, add a 5th filter, and then do process piping and instrumentation and control and electrical improvements to support the 4 new filters and the 5th filter. Second was some distribution system improvements, including water main upgrades on Main Street, Snyder Ave, and Heidenberg Ave. Most of those are 4 or 6-inch mains, which by today's standards are pretty small, particularly for fire flow protection and stuff, so we're looking at 8-inch mains on there. The third is you have a 500,000 gallon tank, the Sandhill tank, and that would be not replaced, that would be renovated, that would be sandblasted and painted interior and exterior, and to bring it up to code and give it a clean bill of health. And then the final is water metering improvements. Some new meters have went in, they need the remote meter transmitters put on them, and then there's about another 400 meters we're looking to purchase and install to upgrade the meters for reading consumption and for billing purposes. So the improvements are somewhat throughout the system, you know what I mean? It's sourced with treatment, storage, distribution, and then metering to customers. So, as been noted by several, some applications went into the New York Environmental Facilities Corporation. That is the state department that essentially runs the funding that is given down from the federal government to the state level for water and sewer improvements. We helped the town put in a application to them. It's called the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. DWSRF is the acronym for it. And you got the maximum funding that was available, which is a $2 million grant and about a $1.1 million loan over 30 years at 0%. And that's the maximum that they give. So.
And I believe we talked about, back when we were first doing the calculation, that's about a $50 increase per household per year, which is really a small number for, for each.
For what you're going to get done.
For what we're going to get done. This is a situation that we know that this district could never have supported these upgrades, and we've been living on borrowed time for quite a while with some major breaks and serious breakdowns. We have now Peter Avenues closed, and we had a major breakdown at the facility this past month. So it's really coming at a time when it's seriously needed. And also, I thank you very much for all the hard work that Barton Loguidice did. I definitely want to thank Terry for keeping this district together with Band-Aids all these years, and also for the extra work that went into getting our survey done, which really was key. Because I know that at one point I was talking to the facilities clerk, and they were looking to put us on the shelf because they could not confirm that we had the right income levels to be able to qualify, and that individual survey made a difference. And everybody that did that survey, you can pat yourself on the back because it did make a difference in getting us that grant.
Terry knows he can't retire unless we get this grant, because his town couldn't survive without it. The way he keeps
I
that
got a
place
call
running.
from Port Ewing today, and he asked me, he goes, Terry, we've been reading in the paper, you got some money, how'd you do that? And they did their income survey, and they didn't meet the criteria. They didn't have some of the, you know, the issues with the health department that we did. So he's saying, no, they can get the money, but it's straight, you know, loan, you know, no grant. So he just wanted to know how we went about it.
How will they deal with that tank? Is it possibly thin-walled in areas? Will it need replating?
No, we weren't looking to replating. It's some pit welding that will need to be fixed. And then it's sandblasting the inside of the tank and the outside of the tank primarily.
We need some remediation too, I believe, right? Remediation. And I think the plan is to do the filtration plant first and then move on to.
Yeah, the metering can happen early on also, you know,
Okay.
because the metering
Like
is pretty
simultaneously.
individualistic, you know what I mean, at houses and at businesses. But yes, the water plant improvements need to be done so that the water plant is at full capacity without the well having to be on and
Right,
stuff.
and that was another thing that we didn't really talk about today,
Mhm.
but that well getting shut down was another issue that we really wanted to see happen. So by
That's right.
expanding the filtration plant, we'll be able to turn off that well and not have the water that it was just not able to be able to
That's
drink
right.
that water, so
That's right.
that's great.
So yeah, the plant will
So-
be done and then the tank cap.
While you're here,
Mhm.
the board, we're gonna do a resolution, to move forward with the process, and if the board has any questions about the contract, we can go ahead. I did ask, Jason to add the original, document that we did have just the amount that, you know, the 200, I believe it was 208 or 209,000. And then I said, could you just please break that down to be more of, you know, in categories, which you did do. So, you know, my understanding, I'm just gonna ask this question before the other board members ask, my understanding is we'll still be billed as the work gets done, right?
Yes,
Okay.
you'll be
And-
invoiced monthly for the work that's done.
And the other thing that I talked to Jason about, and I just want to confirm, is that we would be able to put off paying Barton Loguidice until we started to get some money back from the grant, because we believe that it'll be kind of it'll time right.
No time, right?
Yeah. Okay, so that was my two concerns, because obviously part of that grant money is to be able to pay for the engineering services. So, Jen, you have some questions?
Yeah, a couple of questions. One is, or maybe this isn't so quick, but do you guys have a sense of the time frame for this phase of the design phase?
Most of the design phase will take from now through into the winter time. And then we'll get the bidding. The meters can happen a little bit quicker. But the water plant, the anticipation is, you know, design it in the fall and get approval from the health department and EFC in the wintertime. Probably looking like the January time period is always a great time to bid. Everybody gets done with their end of year work, they get through the holidays. They come back looking to bid in January for their work starting in the spring.
And just so you understand, Barton Loguidice will help us with that bid process, and you know, all the stuff that goes on with choosing someone to do the individual jobs that are being done, they will assist us in that.
Another question I had is just in the contract, in 12C,
Stormwater?
Page 4.
yeah.
You said 12?
Yeah, you know, I was looking at a different version of it when I wrote Nathan's notes. But it just lists the deliverables, I'll just talk about what it was. And one of them was the notice of intent, and I was just wondering if you should also list there the basic SWIP, which you said earlier is gonna be part of that too.
SWIP preparation is number 7, is that what you're asking?
Yeah,
Yeah.
is it in there?
It says, we will prepare and submit the notice of intent and the basic SWIP.
Under the deliverables.
Under the deliverables.
Okay. That's my question.
So we're,
Okay.
I just want to answer, congratulations on the work that you've done.
Thank you.
Knew we were going to get there, and I'm going to tell them anyway. She did the genie dance when this thing came in. There's so much work into this, and it came to fruition. You know, obviously with a lot of people have been put, including your firm. But this lady did the GD dance, and I was witness to it. It's pretty cool. So I just want to say that. One question with regard to the tank. Will we have to get a replacement tank when that work is being done? Because originally we were talking, it's going back a number of years.
Yeah, I don't believe the intent is to have a replacement tank while the work's being done. That's why we want the water plant done
The
first.
system will be able to,
Did you want
because that was a
to-
considerable,
Yeah, I mean, we won't, fire protection will be limited, because the plant will run 24 hours a day. And we'll have to pick a spot in town where we can let the excess water run, like overnight. It's the same way High Falls is designed if their tank goes down. So as the people are using it, so at night, the pressure doesn't build up and something doesn't go. But yeah, the fire protection will be limited. There'll be a whole set of public hearings when we get close to that, letting the fire chiefs know that, it won't be as normal. They'll have to change their operating procedures. But people will still get the same amount of pressure. Our Mountain Road tank will still be there for the people in the high pressure system. But, Main Street, 213, James Street, and those areas will not have, a 500,000 gallons of water basically sitting on top of it, providing the pressure. So it's at least 7 weeks, they're saying. So it's going to, it'll be, it's definitely going to be a trying time.
because there was a discussion a number of years ago.
They're putting a 100,000 gallon portable tank up there, but we just don't have the land. We abut the cemetery. I mean, we have a buffer there, but not enough without, literally.
Adequate capacity after the
Yeah.
As a capacity, try to find the right time and we'll do now, honestly.
So there's no way that this project will start before the winter?
Some of the metering work potentially.
I guess my thinking, we got the grant, and God forbid if we get into a winter, Murphy's Law kicks in, and we have a pipeline break, a 113-year-old lying down on Main Street, that'll suck up quite a bit of our money from the grant, because now we'll have to go into emergency funding to have it. And then, as you know, the price is quadrupled from the process of doing this. So that's why
I mean, we could take a look at the schedule to see if we couldn't advance some of the water line to try and get something advanced, maybe in construction in the fall.
That's where
Definitely all the water lines probably won't get in by the fall,
Well,
but.
my feeling is we're not starting anything until we have some money in our hands, so that's what I'm gonna say. I want the money first. But I do appreciate what you're saying, Bob. I think it's about how fast can we get EFC to process everything. Because if you look in the packet, you'll see there's a big list of criteria of what we have to do,
Oh, yeah.
steps we have to take. So,
I just hate to
that's
see,
that process.
in the last couple of winters, we've had water line issues. One was
Yes.
right up against the abutment of the bridge, and if it probably gone in 2 inches further, it would have been a major problem. So I guess to sum it up, I hate to see something break. We have to go and to get an emergency contractor in here, and then the price goes skyrocket to deal with it, and then it's only a Band-Aid fix because it would have to be dug up.
Well, that's how we're
So-
living right now, so we're gonna hopefully get all this behind us, and then Terry will have no work to do.
Can you write that down, please?
Is the board okay with me going forward with this?
Actually,
Oh,
I
I'm
don't
sorry,
have any
Chris.
questions, but I have two
Sure.
quick comments.
Sure.
The water main down Main Street had concerned me before I was elected and before Terry gave me the tour, and I got to see how bad things actually are. The same with the Still Pond treatment plant. It's amazing that we have water at all, and the work that's been done to keep us in business. And so I just personally, I have read all the supporting documentation. I did the tour. I had the concerns, and I'm glad that we have the opportunity to do this now on the terms that we have
I
right
will
now.
tell you that I felt exactly the same way. I mean, I've been working on this for 2.5 years, and the first day, before I even took office, I asked Terry would you take me around, show me the facilities, and after going through the water, I said, what is going on here? We need to have this water upgraded. And, we just basically, it was on the top of my priority list for all this time, and just getting to this point. It took 2.5 years, but, we're finally there, but it was all about keeping our fingers crossed, because we just didn't know when we were gonna have a major break, or when something serious was gonna happen that would not put us in a position of having no water. And taking the tour really opened our eyes, so I can say the same thing when I did the same thing, so. Did you have another comment?
No, that was it.
I have one last thing. I'd just like to make a request that in the engineering report, it's Hardenberg Avenue. I Throughout the report, it's referenced as Heidenberg.
I'm sorry.
We might make sure that we get the right word fixed.
Yeah, well, if that's gonna have any effect on the $3 million, we will change the name of the road.
GPS to find the road, end up in New Jersey.
I'm gonna go ahead and do the resolution. Everybody's okay, because we want to get started?
Just
Yes.
Quick question.
Sure.
The loan part of the money, will you be financing that through just general revenues each year to
This
pay
is-
it back?
Let me just explain, and if I have anything wrong, please jump in. My understanding is we'll have to bond through EFC to get the money, right? Environmental Facilities Corp acts like the bank for us.
Okay.
Short term.
Short term. But we'll have to bond to pay back and then we'll get the money. You know, it's like you have to pay as you go, and then we'll get the money back through the grant. And we'll have to step through those, we'll have to go through we have a list of process that EFC requires us to do to get through those steps, so. That's why I want to get this done so that we can go start that and get it, make sure that we can be ready by the spring. Otherwise, every month that we wait, it puts us behind getting the work done in the spring. So Resolution 7, 2014-1. Approval for Barton Loguidice to submit grant for town of Rosendale water system. Whereas the town of Rosendale had signed a contract with Barton Loguidice of 10 Airline Drive, Suite 200, Albany, New York, 12205, November 2012, for an engineering study on the town of Rosendale water system. And whereas Barton Loguidice has assisted the town in securing $2 million hardship assistance grant, along with the $1,048,800 in industry financing for a term of 30 years from the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation from the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, Hardship Fund. Whereas the town will need to proceed with the required documents as described in the New York State EFC DWSRF application form, which is attached and made a part hereof. Whereas the town will also need construction documents. Whereas Barton Loguidice has submitted a scope of work to address the necessary requirements for said grant. Whereas the town would like to proceed with this project as soon as possible. Now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Rosendale authorize the supervisor to sign said agreement, which has been attached and made a part hereof. Barton Loguidice for $208,900, which will be paid through the above mentioned grant.
I'll second that.
Roll vote, Councilman Hassett,
Yes.
Councilman Metzger,
Yes.
Councilman Kozlowski,
Yes.
Councilman Ryan,
Yes,
Supervisor Walsh.
Yes. Thank you very much.
thank you, thank you very much.
And, I will send a copy of that tomorrow. What? Nope, we got 15 minutes or turn them out. So they can go to the- right? Okay. We need a resolution for waterworks, so we're doing, that's a public hearing. Okay, resolution 2, 2014. 2. Let me just ask first, you guys were able to get your questions answered for the waterworks? Or,
Yeah, could I
go ahead.
speak to that a bit? Yeah, last week I had raised a question concern about some language in the certification agreement about condemnation of land.
Yes.
And subsequently consulted Mary Lou, our town attorney, about that, and, that she assured me that that is limited to the plan, basically, and any extension of the service area has to be certified again by the town, right, is that correct, and Department of State, so.
It has to be filed with you. It doesn't have to be certified by the town, but there'd have to be contracts with those property owners or, I don't think these people intend to do this, but, there are waterworks corporations out there who operate all over the state who, they initially get their their corporate certification from one town, because you have to start somewhere. And then after that, if you Google waterworks, just get all this information, you come up with lots of roto-rooter companies. And there are a few that operate throughout the state. They don't have to come back to their original town every time now. I don't talk to Tim, I don't think they intend to do this anywhere else. But they wouldn't necessarily have to come back to us for everything. If they were doing more things in our town, yes, but I want you to know they could go to a adjoining town. If they decide, boy, this is so much fun, we want to get into this business,
Right.
or they could.
So they could expand that service area. So my concern was if they do expand, say that was an option to expand the service area and properties didn't, intervening properties didn't want to participate, or the property could be.
Yeah, if they
go
want
for
to expand in
condemnation.
Rosendale, they can't just do that on their own and condemn for these others.
That's my
They
question.
can condemn off property, I shouldn't say that, water corporations, which in this case, we don't have this situation. If there was a water corporation that was servicing a particular area, and if Williams Lake was this area, this project, the HRVR project, but they weren't getting their water from the lake, and part of their plan was they were getting their water off-site, and then something happened and it had to be expanded for health and safety reasons of the water district, and whoever owned this off-site property said, no, I'm not gonna give you more room, they could go through a condemnation proceeding for that property, but they'd have to go through a very rigorous process, including court consent to that.
Right, and related to that, I had also just gone over some things with the DEC, just called to follow up about the permit requirements for water withdrawal and the verification, monitoring and verification procedures. You know, just for everyone's information. Well, obviously, they can't exceed the maximum withdrawal limit that's been set in the permit. But they can't use any other sources other than Williams Lake. That would be a violation of the permit. And if environmental conditions change as well, if the initial conditions change, that is also grounds for revoking the permit. I know there were some concerns about, drought conditions and drawdown. They have to report regularly, annually on this. They have to give average daily and maximum water withdrawal levels, and they're also held to all of the conservation and efficiency measures that they committed to in the FEIS. That has to be reported on as well to the DEC annually. I had some concern about the fact that the maximum, not average, but the maximum possible daily withdrawal was very close to the recharge of the lake under drought conditions. It's just, these are all estimates, so it was just a couple of gallons per day difference. So it's very important that those numbers be monitored, but there are monitoring protocols for that. I would love to see, they have to, it's actually an electronic reporting that they do with the DEC annually. And I think it would be really valuable. I know it's purely informational, not enforcement. This is a state enforcing the agency is in charge, but just for informational purposes, if the town, maybe the town water superintendent would be copied on those annual reporting forms so that the town has that information too. I think that would be very valuable.
Well, we can ask that, but that's not something that we can say, that's something that, it's public information. We could ask DEC for it, we could ask them to send it to us.
But we could
But we
ask them
can't-
to send
Yeah,
it
sure.
to us.
Right, we could ask them to send it to us, that's all. Anybody else?
Quick, I also studied everything here, had had conversations, and state, looked into county level things, looked into case law. I appreciate the time that I was given to do so. And my short version, my short report is essentially that everything, as I understand it in this law, is in line with what the DEC has already approved. And all of the language applies to only those properties within the water district. And that was the red flag that was raised for Jen and myself when we talked about condemnation. What if you live next door? If you're next door, you're not in the district, you're not at risk. So I just wanted to report out that I did do my homework. I do appreciate the time to do so. And I'm comfortable with the answers that we found.
If I can just comment, Jen brought up a good point about these DEC regulations, and I know from experience in other projects not in this town, DEC takes these regulations very seriously and they enforce them.
Yeah.
So this is very big on their agenda.
We report the same way. We have to do it electronically. And we own the water and they still monitor how much we take out. I have to give them the same numbers.
Okay, resolution consenting to formation of a waterworks corporation. Whereas consent to formation of a water transportation corporation to serve the Hudson River Valley Resort Development has been requested from the town board of the town of Rosendale. And whereas such a consent will allow the creation of a legal entity to provide potable water to the residents and guests of the Hudson River Valley Resort as required by the laws of the state of New York. Now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Rosendale, or a majority thereof, hereby consents to the formation of a waterworks corporation, transportation corporation, so as to permit the filing of the certificate of incorporation, a copy of which has heretofore been provided to this board. To be it further resolved that the town clerk hereby is authorized and directed to certify to the enactment of this resolution and provide the same to the applicant.
Second.
Roll vote, Councilman Hassett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger,
Yes.
Councilman Kozlowski,
Yes.
Councilman Ryan,
Yes.
Supervisor Walsh.
Yes. Keep looking at the wrong clock.
Mary
Who's
Lou,
gonna be the clock?
I have the original here that has Robert Gallagher's signature on it too.
Okay, right, yeah, but it
So do
also
you
has
want
to
the
be,
board to sign?
yeah, while they're here.
We might as well just have
We're
them
gonna
sign
need
it,
all
right,
signed,
because this
please.
all has to be signed by everyone.
For the filing of the Secretary of State. And then you'll have to-
I only have
you'll
3
to-
copies, is that gonna be one?
Yeah, and you'll sign and seal that.
So then I can just turn this over to Mandy, right? Once I
Yes.
sign? Okay. Actually, first. We have 1 minute left on the public hearing. Was there anyone else that wanted to make a comment on the sewer district? I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing with the exception of written comments that will be accepted for 1 week.
I'll second.
Roll vote, Councilman Hassett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger,
Yes.
Councilman Kozlowski,
Yes.
Councilman Ryan,
Yes.
Supervisor Walsh.
Yes. Thank you, Don. next thing on the agenda is the resolution to approve a agreement with the Wallkill Valley Land Trust for a drainage easement. Many of you may have noticed that the Wallkill Valley Land Trust put a drainage system under the trestle. Part of that drainage system goes under the Mountain Road, and there's a catch basin on the other side in the trail, in the line of the rail trail that is part of Mountain Road's responsibility, as the drainage is coming off of both Mountain Road and the rail trail. We decided to go into an agreement with Mourka Valley Land Trust to maintain this. The Mourka Valley Land Trust will be solely responsible for the drainage system, but the Highway Department will clean out the catch basins as they are responsible for the MS4. During their MS4 clean outs that they do, they will include these 3 basins, one which is on the far side of Mountain Road, and the other 2 which are on the Mourka Valley Land Trust property before you reach the bridge. So that's what this agreement is about. That's Resolution 7/2014. 3. Thank you. Agreement with Wallkill Valley Land Trust for drainage easement, whereas Wallkill Valley Land Trust has installed a new drainage system under the Rosendale trestle, and whereas the drainage system crosses under Mountain Road, a town road, and whereas the town of Rosendale is a municipal separate storm sewer system town, MS4, and whereas a shared drainage system made sense to control the water runoff from both Mountain Road and the rail trail, whereas the town and Wallkill Valley Land Trust have prepared an annexed agreement to identify the responsibilities of each party in maintaining said drainage system. Now therefore be resolved, the town board of the town of Rosendale hereby accepts the attached agreement with Wallkill Valley Land Trust and authorized supervisor to execute the same.
Second.
Don't fight.
Jim was closer.
It's true. My backyard.
She just wants to make sure that the drainage system.
Roll vote, Councilman Hassett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger,
Yes.
Councilman Slawski,
Yes.
Councilman Ryan,
Yes.
Supervisor Walsh.
Yes. Did Andy get that document?
Yes.
The next document is a resolution with Wallkill Valley Land Trust for parking. The town has, in the past, had an agreement with the owners of Joffenberg. We had a 10-year contract with the previous owners to be able to use the parking. And the Wallkill Park, about a year ago, a little more than a year ago, Ken and I sat down with members from Wallkill Valley Land Trust. They were looking for parking for the rail trail before the trestle opened. They were concerned about that. We were looking to continue using the parking lot now that the property had changed hands. And we sat down and came up with a list of an agreement on what we would do to share services and share parking lots. So rather than pay Wallkill Valley Land Trust for parking, we now are sharing parking, 2 parking lots, Binneywater parking lot, which will service the rail trail, and behind Main Street at Wallkill, we'll be using that parking lot and park. And of course, both can be used for the trails and both can be used by the public. So we will assist them in some of their maintenance needs, as we have in the past, when our resources allow for it, and that's what this contract reflects. So the agreement, it's 7/2014-4. Resolution agreement with Wallkill Valley Land Trust for parking, whereas the town of Rosendale is in need of continuing to use the parking lot and park at Wallkill behind Main Street in Rosendale, and whereas the Wallkill Valley Land Trust is in need of parking for the rail trail and Rosendale Trestle off of Binneywater Road and Rosendale to Binneywater Road Dam parking lot. And whereas in the interest of shared services, the town and Wallkill Valley Land Trust have come to an agreement to provide parking for residents, businesses, and users of the trails. And whereas the town and Wallkill Valley Land Trust have prepared the annexed agreement, now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Rosendale hereby accepts the attached agreement with Wallkill Valley Land Trust and authorizes the supervisor to execute said.
Second.
vote, Councilman Hatstat,
Bob, you got a chance to review this, specifically number 7, you happy with, you good with that?
Totally good, I mean, highway work comes first, everything over
Yeah,
and
made
above
that real
that.
clear, I mean, the language has been changed, and it looks good to me.
Do you want to look at it again, Bob? We made some changes this
As
afternoon.
long as you're happy with it, you know where I stand on that.
The language reflects what we discussed.
Okay, that's fine.
Just want to make sure you were happy with it. And I vote yes.
Councilwoman Metzger,
Yes.
Councilman Kozlowski,
Yes?
Councilman Ryan,
The highway supervisor's happy with it, I vote yes.
Supervisor Wolf.
Yes. Bob, did you want to talk to the board about the next two resolutions?
You mean I can get out of here later?
Next,
Absolutely.
we have two, one is the skid steer. That's the first thing up next on the agenda. Let me just point out on the resolution and in Bob's letter, we need to change we ran short of time, so please change the DA 5130.4 to a .2. It's on the resolution and in his letter.
I'll get along.
Farmers market is going to continue to be in the parking lot or in the Willow Kiln Park?
They're gonna continue.
They're happy there.
Yeah.
And the customers are happy there too.
Yeah.
It's actually a lot safer in that section. It's a lot safer there than on the other end, because you don't have cars, people's dogs, and bikes all interacting.
Fre, have you noticed, hi,
Yeah,
have you noticed that there's an increase of traffic on Sunday mornings because the farmer's market is there?
everywhere. You know, the stores are getting more traffic, the restaurants getting slammed early,
Taking out a shot in the arm, please.
and the market itself is increasing. You know, now that people are beginning to really know and remember that it's there. So, you know, I think it much better than when it was at the rec center, because people would stop and keep going. This actually, I'd say 50% is foot traffic. People actually just walk and get their stuff and walk back. It's lovely, it's really lovely.
And I just want to say that was always my suggestion to the farmer's market from the beginning, that we realized there's going to be a problem being at the rec center. Over and over I said, it needs to be down behind Main Street where it can bring people to the business district. That is the purpose. You have two purposes. You want to bring fresh vegetables to the people, but you also want to bring people to the businesses. So
Right.
this is now doing what it really should be doing. So
It really is.
I'm happy to hear it's doing well.
And it's really motivating us to really fix up the back in there.
I want to report too, I called Fre Atlast not using the crosswalk the other day and almost clipped her.
He almost hit me.
Let's
See, we still need those signs.
All right, let's let Bob get started here. Thank you.
All right, I'll try to make it quick without interruptions.
They're all leaving.
On this resolution for the attachment for the skid steer. I gave you attachments with all the roads, town roads we got, color coordinated for people like Bob over here. So you understand that?
Thank you.
All right. Very aggressive schedule we're doing on trying to repair roads this year. So this broom attachment is what it is. What we've done is you authorized the highway department to purchase a skid steer with this planer. What that basically does to make it simple is that kind of like tears out the old sections of the road, the rotten sections of the road. We pave it, patch it, with going into next year of a oil and chip, which is the next resolution. So basically what happened is we only have one broom attachment. It's for the grounds crew. So anytime we do a large road, I kind of pull away from those guys. Then I have to replenish those with another guy. It just becomes a real pain, and not getting the mowing, which is a substantial amount of mowing in the town that we have to get done. So for the attachment on the skid steer, it's an easy, quick disconnect. So we're boom, boom. We're playing out the road. The broom sweeps out the millings, of course, and then we patch it and move on. So that's the reason behind that. Just to give you an update to go in, and then I'll let you get to your resolutions. On the next one, there's the contract to go with Peckham Industries. There was two different bids that was put in here. One was from Gorman Group, and the other one was from Peckham. The only difference is, as much as I like the Gorman Group's proposal, I can't justify this. I gave it to, I don't know if we have it, but the authorization for Doreen, we took care of that, right?
I didn't bring that to before the board, I was
So
just gonna.
it's just the paperwork.
Yeah, if anybody wants to know
Okay.
that, the county, is supplying, how many, three week crew?
Four.
4-week crew, employees that they pay, and, Bob is just asking for Doreen to have the authorization to do the paperwork and the follow-up that they need to process, so as somebody that can be hands-on and see what's going on.
That's what they're requiring, the county's requiring that.
So I didn't see any need to bring it to the board, it's just something Doreen can do.
Quick update on the dam decommissioning, it's going to plan. I mean, we have the permit until December 2016, so we've lowered it a little over 4 feet. We're going to be building a ramp out further. We have to get out about another 8 feet. We just can't reach it with our backhoe right now. And then that'll be taken down. Anybody wants to go fishing, please go up there and go fishing. There's lots of fish in there, and from what I understand, a lot of people are catching a lot of stuff out of there. So, and it's pretty easy.
Are the fish going down the runway, or they're just not making it out there?
They're not making it out.
Because of the border, yeah.
Got that. Also, August 16th, next Wednesday, we're going to be paving the Bell Tower Lane, and also, I'm sorry, July 16th.
Hardenburg?
I'm ready for winter.
No, Bell Tower.
Yeah.
Bell Tower Lane also.
When are you doing that?
July 16th, next Wednesday. Also, we'll be sweeping the back parking lot of the municipal parking lot. We have it on our website.
And I also
You know
asked
anybody-
Carrie to spread it around, I asked Carrie to go around.
So if you know anybody, please tell them Wednesday, shift her up to the gravel part of the parking lot so we can sweep.
So you're doing it Wednesday?
Wednesday, the 16th. And then we'll be paving Bell Tower Lane and also the lower part of the parking lot by the hole.
And we're waiting we'll be striping the rest of that after you're done.
Also, we spent some time this spring cleaning the hole out. We did find some people starting to dump some brush in there. If you catch anybody, please tell them, don't dump it. We have a transfer station that takes brush. Plus it makes it look like crap. And the last thing I got is County Highway's gonna come out on Monday, and we're gonna get the MS4 catch basin stuff done Monday.
For the county,
Huh?
for the county stuff, the county roads?
Our MS4?
Yeah.
For
But
all
they're-
catch basins or what?
We're gonna try to get as many as possible on Monday, and then that'll start the process. But that's when they had their first available use of their vacuum truck. And that's all I have, unless somebody has a question.
On the attachment to the skid steer,
No, you can't.
when it goes on,
Yep. No.
You want the door stuff?
Nobody wants to
all I want to do
operate.
is drive it, he won't let me even sit on it.
I have just one brief question.
Yep.
The cutting of the brush on the berm that's going on,
Yep.
is that from your department, or whose department is
It's
that?
actually mandated by the DEC, and the town of Rosendale's been doing it
Since we have flood
since it
control.
was flood control.
Yeah, so
Yes, Bob
It's our crew.
is.
Oh, it is your crew?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they cut clean down to the water's edge.
Yep.
And right now, there's so many birds, there's so much nesting, and it really,
But that's what the DEC requires to keep the flood control down.
so it has to go. Because even the reeds at the bottom of because it's such important habitat right now, this time of year. So I just wondered if if the requirements were for it to be cut now, or is it just any time in the year?
It's required to do now, but now is the only time we can get the personnel to do it. I mean, as it is right now, we started with 8 kids, we're already down to 7. Probably by next week, we'll be down to 5. And that's the way it goes, and like I said, we're required by the DEC to do it.
At this time of the year, though, is my question. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter unless you want to get out there and get 20 of your people to go out there for 5 weeks to do it.
Right,
We'll even
I
pay-
understand, I'm just trying to
We'll even pay you to
understand.
do it.
I'm just asking the question, because I don't know.
It's just, it's some things that are required, you know, we're
Right.
required to do it, it's part of the understanding when the
Right.
flood control was put in.
And also, you know, it's been traditionally the time that we do that to beautify the town, getting it ready for the street fest. Because when it's all overgrown, it doesn't, you know, it obviously doesn't look well. So,
Well, no.
But what if they left a strip right along the bottom that was
That would be in violation of
That's-
the
We're
order.
not allowed to do that, so.
until later in the season,
We
and then
cannot-
volunteers did it?
We
What
can't,
if we said
because if
volunteers
volunteers
could do it?
don't do it, then we have to hire people to do it.
And there's a
We-
possibility.
And our
Be
budget would
consistent.
be already gone then, we wouldn't have the money to do it, to send people back out to do it.
But what if people
It's
made
gotta
a
be
pledge
consistent.
or
It's
something
gotta
and we
be-
tried it
It's been
once?
done this way every year,
I
it's
don't
gotta
see
be
how-
consistent.
Can I ask,
Yep.
can we ask, make a request, ask a question about, you're familiar with the enormous patches of Japanese knotweed that are along the creek bank, and that's, it just really impossible to eradicate, and it spreads along creeks, because, you know, it's, one way it spreads is by cut pieces being thrown into the creek, so if there's any way that guys could try to keep the cut pieces up rather than throwing it into the creek, that'll help it from spreading downstream to other parts of our creek bank. It's really awful stuff, and it contributes to bank erosion and other things.
Have you noticed that? All that?
I wouldn't know what it would look like if you...
It
It's,
looks like a
you
big
know-
glob of snot.
Yeah, it looks like, it looks a little like bamboo in the way it grows, except that it's reddish, and you actually cut it back on Mountain Road too, but there's an enormous swath of it on James opposite the food pantry, you know, that part of the flood control area. And there's some up too, but it's very tall. You guys cut it back on Mountain Road too.
No, that's not, yeah, now I know what you're talking about.
Yes,
You
yeah.
can eat the shoots.
Yeah, you can eat, actually, yeah, you can eat it. And it,
No thanks.
If you just cut it with snot.
it's supposedly like rhubarb, I hear.
I'll,
What can you do to get, what is recommended for eradication?
So what they do, what you can do to you really, if you see it, it's starting to creep, for instance, on the other side of Mountain Road, if you see it starting to come in, you have to dig deep and pull the whole thing out, because if you leave a root piece that's even this small, it'll grow into a whole new patch, but it does not like to be mowed at all, and after a while, like, we had it in our front yard, and after 10 years of mowing, we got rid of it. But that's basically, you can wear it down like that, but it's hard on banks like that. You
What
can't,
about your miracle,
you can't pull it up.
Or vinegar,
All you can do
vinegar
is cut it.
solution?
weed killer.
Yeah.
Have you used it yet?
Just,
Huh? Yeah.
Have you used it? I just ran out of vinegar and stuff today. Did you?
Yeah, it's a good weed killer.
All right, let's do these resolutions. On number 5, 7/2014-5, resolution to purchase attachment for skid steer. Whereas the town of Rosendale Highway Department has need to purchase a broom attachment for the skid steer. Whereas this attachment will also expedite the sweeping of the roads in the future. 4 and 2, recoup the sand used for the following winter's usage. Whereas the town of Rosendale Highway Superintendent Robert Gallagher has researched such equipment and makes a recommendation to purchase a new 84 skid steer angle broom from Montano Company Inc. 571 Route 212, Surrey, New York 12477. Now therefore be resolved, the cost of said equipment, will be $5,578 and will come out of the Highway Department contractual equipment line DA 5130.2. Be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Rosendale hereby authorize the purchase of said equipment from the aforementioned vendor.
I'll second that.
Roll vote, Councilman Hassett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger,
yes.
Councilman Slawski,
Yes.
Councilman Ryan,
Yes.
Supervisor Walsh.
Yes. Resolution 7/2014-6. Resolution authorizing the hiring of a contractor for seal coating, whereas several roads in the town of Rosendale were paved in the fall of 2012 but were never seal coated, and whereas these roads need to be seal coated along with Milling and Patchen and Hickory Bush Road. Whereas the town of Rosendale Highway Superintendent Robert Gallagher has received 2 estimates for the project. Number 1, Gorman Group for $96,934.50. Number 2, Beckman Industries for $39,965.72, which have been attached and made part hereof. Whereas the highway superintendent has requested the approval to hire Beckman Industries for the project, now therefore be resolved that the supervisor of the town of Rosendale authorizes the highway superintendent to hire Beckman Industries for this project.
I'll second.
Roll vote, Councilman Hassett,
Yes.
Councilman Metzger,
Yes.
Councilman Slawski,
Yes.
Councilman Ryan.
Yes.
Supervisor Walsh.
Yes.
You're welcome to stay if you'd like.
Thank you.
You can't even get him to stick around anymore, right? Okay, so I just wanted to review, Renee, you might want to come up. We're going to talk a little bit about the Resource Recovery Agency and the recent communication, and some of you may have seen some articles in the paper. May 29th this year, we received a letter from Tim Rose from Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency to all the towns looking for more money. That's what they want, more money. And it's a substantial increase that at our supervisors meeting we felt was unreasonable. And we did ask for an extension because they wanted us to make a decision by the end of the year of new contracts. And we asked for an extension as a group. And then I received a letter on June 30th that they have agreed to give us an extension through June 30th of 2015. So between now and then, we're going to have to decide how we're going to go forward. I don't want to get too much into this, but I'd like, maybe Renee might want to talk about it. I know you went to a meeting with some of the other transfer station directors, and we're looking at some ways, but just to give you an idea of what the increase would be, one of the things they want to do is purchase new roll-offs, which is close to $1.2 million, and that increase in their costs, they want to roll over to the towns, and that would mean I think it was an $85 monthly rental fee for the
every
boxes, which we
container.
don't pay now.
So to even begin the month up there, what they're offering is, with 6 containers, we're starting with a deficit of $500 and some already. And that's once a month, and you multiply that times 12 months, that's quite a bit of money.
Plus the pull fees would be more.
The pool fees, 43 to 62, that's 19. I didn't bring my list, but I
Yeah,
gave
and
you one.
also the other thing is, pull fees would go up, and they don't want you to compact the
No
containers.
compacting, because anything over 5 tons, they're gonna add more money onto it.
Right.
So compacting or any of that, we're gonna go out with more bins, see? Because we
One of the
can't
things,
compact anything.
one of the things that I think a lot of the supervisors feel, and I'll just let you guys know that we've been talking about this, that, one of the concerns is that we supported flow control to try to make them solvent, the
Right.
Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency. Now they're looking for more money from the towns to be able to put money in reserve, and, I think it's going to be a hardship
It's
for
gonna
all of
be a
us to
hardship.
be able to do this. And it does put, I think, our transfer stations at risk.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna be talking about this some more. I encourage you guys to just read this material over, and we'd like to bring it back up next month for some more discussion and to start to look at what the other towns' suggestions are and what we might be able to do, because I think what we'd like to see is all the towns try to work together to try to come up with a solution that works for everyone, because these individual contracts per town really put us at a disadvantage of being able to ask for what we need and to make it, viable. So,
With me, anybody who comes to my recycling center knows that I take really good care of it. And I try to take everything out of everything to make money for the town, which we've done. But with this, the way they're handling this could wipe us right out of anything. And then it would be nothing but to put an increase on use. And eventually what will happen, if that keeps going that way, people are gonna go to pickup and we're gonna lose all that we're doing now. And I know so many of you from my recycling center. And then also, I need you to kind of back me because you're my family. I've been there for a long time, and anything, suggestions or anything you can see of a way that we can make money or whatever, please come and see me.
You know, there's two sides to this, you know, they benefit from our transfer stations because we give them clean recycling.
Yeah.
We have,
And they make money on recycling.
they do not get that from the private sector. So that's some help to them, but, we also, you know, we wanna make sure that the transfer station, which is, it's about providing a service to the community.
That's
And,
right, that's what it's about.
You know, you have to say that if we get to the point where we can't save the resident money by going to the transfer station, like you said, what they're gonna do is everybody's gonna get pickup service.
Yeah.
And then there's not gonna be any point in having a transfer station, so.
And there's 21 years up there that I got, and like I said, it means a lot to me, the place does. If something happens, I only want to be put in a bag and buried on the hill, you all need to know there's $3 a bag. Keep going, but, you know, but really, deep in my heart, you know how I feel about it up there.
Yeah, so I'm not asking for a solution tonight, I just want to bring you guys up to speed. We are going to do a walk through the supervisors at our next meeting. We will be at the resource recovery agencies. I know you guys are going back there.
That's what I'm
next
going
week.
to, Monday, yeah.
And so, you know, we're gonna keep working at this and try to figure out something, but I'll bring you back the information after we meet next week. It's the 14th, your meeting, and the 15th.
Yes. Yeah.
So all the towns in Ulster County are gonna hit with this?
Except for New Paltz and Town of Ulster, I believe. I'm not positive on that, but some of them have longer contracts. Most of the towns, their contracts ran out, and we've been on a temporary extension, so they're looking for us to sign a new contract. And actually, you know, I'm sorry, go ahead.
The supervisors, you guys meet once a month?
Yeah. So this is definitely, you know, everybody's concern.
Just to make you aware of what's going on, so.
And our, you know, our transfer station, it provides such valuable services for our community, and we're about to have a reuse center and everything, you know, it's just.
You know, that, the heart that goes into doing all this stuff, and then all of a sudden to come back and get whammed like that. Like I said, whatever we do, we cut metal out of mattresses to make money.
And that won't happen at the county.
We take the metal off of recliner chairs. We do whatever we can up there, and it's just a shame that they gotta.
I can't believe they hit us with something like this all at
Well,
once.
Jamie's been going to the supervisors. She knows that I'm going to the recycling coordinators where we're putting in our input and stuff like that. A lot of people aren't happy.
Well, there's gotta be a solution to it, there's just gotta be.
We gotta just.
Having sat on this board for so many years and having dealt with the RRA and their various antics over the years, they're just an organization that puts out their edicts, and at the end of the day, we're all gonna go with it. We can bitch and moan all we want, but, you know, after all the years sitting here, they've always gotten their way.
Well,
I think it was quoted in the paper
ourselves.
that, you know, they're a secret organization that makes decisions on their own without any, you know, input, and they give their decisions to the towns. And I have to agree with that quote that was in the agreement today. I forget who was that quote, Bill?
The only thing I know with not compacting or anything,
That was from
they're
the,
making money because we're getting more pools. It's terrible.
That's right, that was Mr. Catan, yeah.
Well, I know that Supervisor Chipman was really pushing for getting towns represented on that board.
Yes.
And it's
They tried to do
ridiculous
that
that
during
there
the
is
flow control.
no municipal representation on that board because we are ultimately affected. So I think that that's something that we should really push for.
You know, well, they did that legislation last year.
do they really have a stronghold on us?
Well, that
The
it's,
flow
yeah,
control is
the money, and now we have flow control, so all the garbage has to go to them. I mean, it's not like they have no choice. What we do have a choice about is, do we wanna pay for their roll-offs? Do we wanna get our own roll-offs? There's other options we have, but we gotta look at that.
Well, I think moving forward with the discussions the supervisors through the association, and I know on your own, are having, it may be possible for, you know, some towns to form a coalition to buy your own roll-offs or whatever that
That's-
solution may be.
that's what I'm saying,
But the
we're
bottom
looking at
line
some
is-
possibilities.
yeah, bottom line
She's
is
going to
that,
the supervisor
It's still
meeting
gonna
on
cost us
Women
more money.
Recycling to get all
Yeah.
the
I
info
said to him,
sides.
get your guys back out there and patch up the equipment like we all do, you know? If you make your equipment last for as long as you
Yeah.
can, all of a sudden they had an audit or some kind of, somebody came to them and said,
Yeah.
oh, you need new equipment. Okay, we need new
Something
equipment.
sounds-
Well, you didn't need new equipment last week, why do you need it
You're
this week,
hauling
you know?
garbage,
A
I
bin
mean,
is a
you
bin is a
really
bin.
need
You
something
know, the
that's.
bins, I'm
Bins,
sure.
some of those bins, and see, I'm lucky because they were doing something at the meeting that I went to, and they said, well, you should do comments, well, on my sheet when I call in, and they bring in a container, and it's got cans and that, and it's just, say it's for newspaper. I write it on my comment sheet.
Yeah, but what they're talking about is there's holes and they're
But
worn through
they're-
or broken.
When they
And I'm
park
like,
mine, they're
They
hitting
got
them
people,
in.
they got people that work for them that repair them. Keep repairing them, you know? What do you
Renee,
think? That's what they're there for.
how many-
They don't hold
How many
garbage, you know?
roll-offs
It's like, they don't
would
have to
we
be
need,
pristine.
and how many yard roll-offs, how many yards, containers would they,
Okay, newspaper, 4 40-yarders,
4 40-yarders?
yeah, 1 20-yarder, and 1 35-yarder.
4 40-yarders, what was the other one? I'm sorry.
1 20-yarder, that's glass, because you don't want to put any more weight into it because you're limited.
Yeah,
And the other one's a 35, that's for newspaper and stuff.
a 35-yarder,
Mhm.
one.
Yeah. 6.
So each of those containers will cost, or just the garbage roll-off are we talking about,
The what?
for the rental?
No, all of them.
So each of those would be $85?
$85 a month, and we're starting out with 6 containers, and that's $500 and some
Yep.
before we even get into it.
Okay.
And then the gas, they're going from 7% to 8%.
So I wonder,
And tipping fees going up too.
I wonder if we purchase our
It's gonna-
own, well, how are they
Well,
gonna
that's
nail
what,
us?
the problem with that is that you gotta maintain them, and then you gotta go, we'd have
Oh,
to get
can you
someone to
see
take
me
them
up
there
there?
and
Come
back.
on, people, help me
you know?
paint,
Yeah,
help
it's
me.
complicated. Anyway, we
But it's
definitely, there's a lot of things to consider, and we'll keep talking about it, because we have, a little bit of time yet, but I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Renee.
Renee.
Thanks, Renee.
You're welcome.
Okay. So the next, resolution is, renewal of customer service maintenance agreement for telephone system at 520 Beaver Falls Road.
5, 6 or 7.
Number 7.
7.
Sorry. So this is a good time to bring up, I'm sure many of you know that we didn't get the legislation for Marbletown to move in. So we're still looking at some legal ways to still make that happen. They're looking at all the possibilities, Marbletown. So that's one of the reasons we have these quarterlies with police, is because, and I'm looking into how to access the grant now that that's all up in the air, so. Don't have answers for you yet, but we're working on it. But we haven't given up. We're gonna keep working at it until it happens. That's an important thing to, to be able to do the shared services. I'm committed to that, and we'll try to make this happen. So that's 7/2014/7, renewal of customer service and maintenance agreement for telephone system at 520 Beaver Falls Road, justice and police offices. Whereas up-to-date communication technology is essential for smooth and efficient operation. Whereas the town board of the town of Rosendale contracts with Crosspoint Solutions for telephone and communication services. And whereas Crosspoint Solutions submitted a quarterly contract for June 1st, 2014 through August 31st, 2014 for renewal of service and maintenance in the amount of $144 for the phone service at Justice Court Police Facility, said contract, which is attached here to and made part here. Now therefore be resolved, town board of the town of Rosendale hereby approves the aforementioned service contract.
Second?
Roll vote, Councilman Hassett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger,
Yes.
Councilman Kozlowski,
Yes.
Councilman Ryan,
Yes.
Supervisor Wilt.
Yes.
Well, this-
I'm
sorry. I had read about, because a state legislator didn't get that in to get it okay, up in Albany.
Yeah.
So how long of a wait if we have to go and wait the whole circuit
One of
into
two,
Marbletown?
one of two options as far as legislation goes. they could go back into session, and it could go back up on the floor, or we have to start all over again in January. These are the options. But we won't know. It's something that we just have to wait and see. It's not something we have control over. If they go into session for some other reasons, that might come, they may decide to bring up some other different bills that haven't been passed, but we don't have any guarantee of that.
I mean, opening is so much into this consolidation, who's going to drop the ball, and do we know why?
We really can't say. Can't say. We don't know. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes. We just know,
Right, the
well,
outcome.
they each point the finger at each other, and, it's one of those things, unfortunately. I know that, I've talked to both sides, both senators are co-sponsored it, they both said they worked hard to get it done, but it has to go before the final committee that has the authority to bring it to the floor, and that's what didn't happen, so. Resolution 7/2014, 8. Authorizing contract for planning services. Whereas the town board of the town of Rosendale requires the services of planning consultant to provide various monthly planning services to town of Rosendale Planning Board. And whereas when needed, occasional planning services to town of Rosendale Town Board and the zoning board of appeals. And was the firm of Bergmann Associates, 28 East Main Street, 200 First Federal Plaza, Rochester, New York, 14619, submit an estimate for said services for $19.50 per month, and more specifically set forth in scope of services attached to your 2 and read part hereof. Whereas after review by members of the town board, the chairman of the planning board has recommended that the town of Rosendale enter an agreement with the above mentioned firm for the dates of July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2015. Now therefore be resolved, the town board of the town of Rosendale authorize supervisor to sign said agreement on behalf of the town of Rosendale.
Person.
What's that?
Please.
Roll vote, Councilman Hassett,
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger.
Yes.
Councilman Slavsky,
Yes.
Councilman Ryan,
Yes.
Supervisor Wall.
Yes. Resolution 7/2014-9. This is just formality, gang, because we did the memorandum of agreement. It's just incorporated. It took a little while because I had it on the desk of our labor attorney for some time, and I finally got it back. So we're just going to finalize the agreement that's already been in place pretty much. Adoption of agreement for Teamsters Local 445 Highway Department employees, whereas the town board of the town of Rosendale and Teamsters Local 445 International Brotherhood of Teamsters, bargaining representative of the Highway Department employees have concluded negotiations for agreement covering January 1st, 2014 through December 31st, 2015. Now therefore, it be resolved, the town board of the town of Rosendale hereby approves said agreement, a copy of which is attached here to the main front bureau. The further resolved, the town board authorizes the town supervisor to sign said agreement on behalf of the town of Rosendale. And be further resolved, the town board authorizes the town supervisor to make the necessary salary adjustments to influence the terms of said agreement.
I'll counsel, I'll second it.
We're already tired.
Roll vote, Councilman Hassett,
Not sure yet?
Yes.
Councilwoman Metzger,
Yes.
Councilman Slavsky,
Yes.
Councilman Ryan.
Yes.
Supervisor Wall.
Yes. I will just say that Jill went word, the two of us did word by word.
There were
Make
two
sure.
things I was looking for
Okay.
specifically.
You're good?
Yes.
Okay. I got a request, actually, the supervisors talk a lot about different things we're doing together, and this is one of the things that all towns will benefit from if we can get the county to take over the cost of elections. So, I'd like to ask our board to do support of the resolution, that the county is doing to propose, they take over the cost of election expenses.
I think you think over the cost of landfills.
Well, this is one of those things, I mean, I think you know, when you have a budget line that we have no control over, and it's a county-run budget line, similar to what safety net was, this is something that we have no control over. We just have to do it, and we don't have any control over it. So I believe it's one of those items that should be controlled by the county and not by the towns. And so some of the other towns are doing this resolution to support this, and I think this would be a good thing for us to do. So it's 7/2014-10, in support of proposed county resolution number 224 of July 15, 2014, authorizing